Hi guys, my name is Lala and I make power-ups and Power Automate videos. Today I'm going to show you how to run through a do until loop in Power Automate. This loop can be used when you are trying to compile multiple comments for a specific record in a data source. Examples where this is used could be a help desk system, a leave application, and an approval flow. But it is not limited to these. For this flow, you're going to need a data source. I've used Dataverse as my data source. An adaptive card builder, which is, you can find it under an adaptive card studio. I will post the link below my video, and you'll need Teams. So let's begin. I'm going to show you how this already runs, and then I'm going to show you how I built it. Okay, so what this flow does is, it adds your comments to a loop. For this, I'm using a help desk system that I've already pre-built, and we're using Teams as our channel to communicate comments that we've completed in our ticket. So if someone has raised a ticket to me, I'm the agent, I'm going to be using Teams to add my comments back into the data source. So I don't actually have to view the app. I can basically use Teams to complete my comments. Okay, there's more to this, but I'm going to put that into a different video. For now, I'm just going to show you how to add comments to a loop. So how you can build on your comments. Okay, so the first one I'm going to do is I'm going to say test. So I'm adding my comments here. Test. Okay, let's not do test. Let's say I have completed part 1 of the change request. I'm going to say, do I want to continue? Yes, I want to continue. So I will say, do I want to continue? I'm going to say, yes, I want to continue. And then I'm going to submit this. So once I submit it, it's going to say, thank you for your response. And we're going to wait for this flow to re-update itself. Okay, as you can see, it added my first set of comments to it. It says my name, the date and time that I added this, and my comment, I have completed stage 1 of the flow. So I'm going to add my next comment, which is, I have completed part 2 the flow. I'm going to say yes, and I'm going to submit this as well. So the only time this flow is going to stop is when you select no, I do not want to continue. As you can see, it's added the next part of it as well. And let's do a third one. I'll say this is now complete. Okay, and let's full stop and say no, I do not want to continue. Sorry, my English is failing me today. So what does a do until loop do? Microsoft documentation says that loops are used to automate repetitive sections of a flow by executing a block of actions multiple times. I'm going to show you how to add multiple comments to a field in your Dataverse record by using Power Automate's do until loop. For this, we need to utilize an adaptive card that will pop up via your adaptive card chatbots in Teams. And we're going to need your Power Automate flow. Okay, let's get started. The first part is you're going to manually trigger this flow. You can use a when a row is modified trigger, but for now, for this video, I'm going to manually trigger the flow. Once it's manually triggered, I'll have to input title and I'll have to input date. And I've added that information into my table here, so we can pick up this information later on. The next thing I'm going to add is variables. So the first variable is an array, and it is a pre-comments variable, and the second variable is an array again, but it's a comments variable. So these two variables are the two variables that I'm going to be focusing on for this tutorial. I'm going to leave out the second two because I'm going to add that to a different video. But for now, we're just focusing on adding multiple comments to a record in your Dataverse table via a do until loop. So basically what we want to do is we don't want to overwrite the current information that's in your comments field in your Dataverse table. Let's just make this so I can show you. So this is your comments field here. We don't want to overwrite the information that's there. We want to keep adding to that information. And that is why we need to use a do until loop. So these two variables are going to come in handy later on when we use them for our flow. So the next thing I'm going to add after all my variables, after initializing all my variables, I'm going to add a do until loop. So this do until loop has a condition, and this condition comes from our adaptive card. So the adaptive card I'm using is post an adaptive card and wait for a response. And the reason why I use this is because I can actually copy and paste my adaptive card JSON code and put it in here. And you can get this code when you create your adaptive card or design your adaptive card under the adaptive card designer. I'll also link that in the video below. Okay, so I'm using my result from my adaptive card. So your adaptive card, when it wants to collect information, it has this little ID field here, and you need to fill in this ID field so that you'll be able to pick up this information when you want to fetch that information later on. You need IDs for each one so you can fetch the correct information. If you don't have an ID, you're not going to be able to fetch that information. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add our result of our ID from the adaptive card, and what we're using is, and we're going to just copy this, or we're going to take it from dynamic content and we're going to add this here. We're going to make it so you can choose any of these conditional statements. So I'm going to use is equal to. So this result must be equal to complete, and you will see under your adaptive card, if we scroll right to the bottom, I've given it a question at the end. Remember I said to you, it's going to ask you, do you want to continue? You can either say yes or no. So the value that is in the back end is your, if you say yes, it's going to say in progress, and it's going to allow the flow to keep running. But if you say no, you don't want to continue, it's going to complete that action and it's going to stop the flow from running. So this will be your condition for it to stop running the flow. If you keep saying yes, you want it to run, it will run as many times as you have set the condition to run for. Okay, so the next thing we're going to add is our get a row by ID Dataverse control. So the reason why we're going to do this is because we need to keep collecting the comments information from here. We need to keep getting the comments information from here so that we can keep adding to it and not overwrite it. So we are going to select our row ID, which is our, I'm going to pull it from add a row. So this is automatically given a unique identifier. We're going to just select that. So we just remove that, and then we can add it again. So you're going to select add a row, and you're going to look for unique identifier for entity instances. We're going to select that. Let's close it because we're done with that part. The next part is a compose statement. So this is a data operation, and you will add an action for this. You can either type compose in, and you'll see data operations will come up. You select data operations. There is multiple you can choose from. We're going to choose compose. And in this compose, we are going to paste our JSON statement. Okay, so I just want to delete that one because I've already pasted it here. So this is your JSON statement. I will add a link to my GitHub so that you can actually copy this code so that you can put it into your compose statement, a compose data operation. Okay, so you can copy this and paste it in here. So this part is pulled directly from your get a row. So remember I told you we're going to fetch information from the row. So this is where we're going to add that information. If we go to dynamic content, we're going to actually look for it. First, we need to see that we're actually choosing it from get a row by ID. You see comments here. Make sure that it's in between the two so we're going to add our comments between these double quotation marks. So you're going to choose it from your get a row, select comments, and we're going to add it here. So once that's done, you can close that. The next step is to use our set variable. So our set variable that we're going to choose is your pre-comments variable, which is an array type. And we're going to take the same compose, the first compose that we've done here, which has your comments, and we are going to drop it in here. So we're going to drop it into the value. So we're going to drop it in here. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to ignore this compose for now, because this is something we're going to do in a later video. For now, we're going to just focus on the adaptive card. So the next part to your adaptive card is you need to drop in a container of items. So this container, what this container does is that it allows you to add multiple entries into this adaptive card so that you can actually view that. If you don't add this, you won't be able to view your comments on your adaptive card. So this part you are not going to actually find in your, it's not going to be, you won't be able to add it. You actually can add it manually to your adaptive card designer, but it's just easier if you drop it in here. So I'll actually add this to the links as well so that you can have access to this. Okay, I'm going to paste this in here. So it will just be type, container, items, pre-comments. This is all you need to do. So this pre-comments is your variable. You're going to drop it in here. Okay, so for now, this part in your adaptive card is done. The next part we're going to go to is your compose date. So the compose date is found after your post adaptive card. This is just to format the date. I have added this for me because we have our date formats as day, month, year. For those of you in the US, I know you guys have it for month, day, year, and some other countries also use month, day, year, or they use year, month, day. But our standard format is day, month, year. So that's why I formatted the date. And we're going to use this to add into our concat function next. So the next compose is our concat. We're going to do a concat. I'm going to do this from scratch for you. So we're going to concat. Basically what we want to do is we want to concat the date. So this is the date that you've responded to the comment section. So you've added your comments in, and we're going to concat this. We're going to concat the person who added the comments. We're going to concat the response time that they gave a response for this comment, and we're going to also add. I'm going to add a concat statement in. The first one I'm going to put is a string. And I'm going to just say Mary Narain. You can actually take this information directly from your adaptive card, but I'm not going to do that. I just want to put in a standard name, just a full-in name. So it will be Mary Narain. Oh, that's not right. Okay, so you do need to write this with the single quotation marks so that there's no errors. And then you can add a comma because we want to add more things to this. So let's go here. So this is where you're going to fetch your information from your adaptive card. Remember I spoke on IDs. So on an adaptive card you need specific IDs to fetch information. So you'll choose your information from post adaptive card and wait for responses. Each of these that you're fetching information from has an ID that you're going to use for the rest of your flow. Okay, so we're going to fetch our response time, and then we're also going to fetch the comments. So let's fetch that. So this is the comments we're fetching because this has the comments ID, and then we're going to update this and add this in here. Now we have our concat statement done. The next thing we're going to do is our comments array variable. So we're going to add select comment, and the value we're going to choose is this compose concat statement that we've done here. We're just going to drop this in here. That's done. Okay, the next step we're going to complete, we're going to do this for our next video. For now, we're just going to skip over the next 3 statements and variables. And we're going to move directly to join 2. And our from value is going to be our comment. So this array comment variable, we're going to just select comment. There we go. Just going to do it again. So you're going to look under dynamic content, and you're going to look through under variables. You're going to find comment, and you're going to add comment in there. And the next thing you're going to do is you're going to join those comments with a line break. Let's do that again. So we're going to join it with a line break. We must have one line break so that the comments are not clumped together in the data source. And lastly, after you have complete your join, you're going to update the row. So you're going to go to comments, and you're going to take the same output from the join, and you're going to just drop it in there. So we're looking for a join variable. There it is. You're just going to drop it in there. And you're also going to add in your in progress status, which is your result verify. This will give you the result that comes from your adaptive card, whether you've chosen yes, in progress, or no, completed. And this is how you add multiple comments that do not overwrite each other to a do until loop.